Hey, what's up guys, Darkbreaker here, and in today's video we are gonna play Olaf. Honestly it's not necessary about Olaf, but in the other video I've made recently, how to be a chat Olaf or whatever, I didn't really talk about the build in depth, so I'm gonna try to give you an explanation for the item build and for the runes quickly, and then afterwards the gameplay itself is not necessary about Olaf, but more about how a lot of SoloQ games are. And I think the video will be about how I reached SoloQ, mostly in Diamond I played duo queue games, like in Diamond 3 and Diamond 2. But besides that, I streamed SoloQ from Platinum 1 to Diamond 4 in one streaming session, 11 games in 3 hours or something, or 4 hours. And then Diamond 4 I played alone. I played a bit of duo queue. Then Diamond 1 I played alone. And then from Master till Challenger, I have 4 games. I have 4 games duo queue and 1 3 score in duo queue. So basically I was playing every single game solo queue. I think I showed you at the beginning of the video the history. But yeah, the main key or the main tips I will give you is we're gonna watch the gameplay, and it's gonna be an insane game that you guys probably would all just render. You guys would never try to win this game anymore, and I will try to give you the right winner's mindset, okay? But let's get started with the item build. So, number 1 item, I think those 2 core items are definitely the best for Olaf. It's gonna be Death Dance. It gives you HP, AD, ability haste, so all the stats you want on Olaf, but lifesteal. Lifesteal in combination with your second ability, which gives you attack speed and lifesteal, is going to be very good synergy. And the lower Olaf is, the more attack speed he's going to get from his passive, and in combination with Cauterize passive. So, Cauterize passive. 30% of damage taken is instead dealt as a bleed effect over 3 seconds. So the damage you're taking is lower and partly spread over time. But with Olaf Sustain coming in from Death Dance Lifesteal, second ability, and the tons of lifesteal you have on the passive, the tons of attack speed you have on your passive, you can sustain so much with Olaf. That's crazy. Your 1 vs 2 potential is crazy. Your 1 vs 3 potential is also crazy when you are ahead. Now for the boots, I like to use Glory. You can use whatever you want. Like you can use Glutton's Grease, more lifesteal. Kind of greedy. You can use Mercury. Yes, you have the ultimate, but you don't have the ultimate all the time. So Mercury can be useful if you guys want some magic resistance. Obviously, Steel Caps is the go-to, or are the go-to boots usually. Then Trinity Force, one of the best damage dealing items, especially for bruisers. HP, AD, attack speed, ability haste, movement speed, bonus damage after every ability, plus rage. Every time you hit an opponent, you get extra movement speed. So it's a very, very good item for Olaf. Some people might go for Black Cleaver, but hey, I would say you would also always go for Trinity Force. So those 2 items are mandatory. You can go Trinity Force earlier if you guys want to, so maybe Trinity into Death Dance, but I like to go Death Dance into Trinity. Death Dance is just the perfect item for Olaf. That Starrock's Gauge gives you HP, base attack damage plus 50%, gives you the Lifeline passive, gives you shield and tenacity. So insanely good item for any bruiser. Guardian Angel, attack damage, armor, revive, passive, and then Spirit Visage for HP, magic resistance, ability haste, and more healing. More healing, second ability, Death Dance, very good synergy. And otherwise, other good options are Randuin's Omen for heavy crit champions, Thornmail against heavy AD comms, or maybe Deadman's Plate if you want, but I would go Thornmail or Randuin's Omen if you guys want more armor, honestly. You could also go for Force of Nature instead of Spirit Visage, but Spirit Visage is better. Then for the runes Conqueror, it's a must-have. It's a very strong rune. gives you tons of AD and damage. Brutal for the early game, better jungle clear and early damage. Some people like to go Triumph for the extra healing, but I don't think you need that. I prefer the strong early game. Hunter's Titan, HP, Tenacity, and Stackable, and then Mastermind for better jungle clear, more damage onto turrets and objectives, and more gold. Or you can go Pathfinder for more movement speed in the jungle. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the item build, and let's hop right into the game, which is gonna be super interesting. By the way, 2 emeralds, 2 diamonds, I'm Grandmaster. This is literally 2 games away from Challenger or something. So in my mind, I was like, I need to try hard because I wanted to reach Challenger that night or before the reset. So the mindset was, I need to fucking win this game. I need to try hard no matter what. That's the mindset coming into this game. And you guys, a lot of people are blaming the matchmaking because they only look at the ranking and they are like, oh my god, I have, like, let's assume you're Grandmaster or Master Player. Oh my god, I have 4 Platinums. Oh my god, I have 4 Emeralds. Oh my god, I have a Platinum in the jungle or something like that. Or, oh my god, I'm a Diamond player and I have a Gold player and he's facing another Diamond or Grandmaster or Master Player. Guys, first of all, you need to understand the matchmaking where it's no longer based too much around the ranking, but more about the matchmaking rating. Matchmaking rating is basically the system tries to determine how skilled you are or how well you play the game or how likely you are basically to win the game, okay? The game thinks, okay, this guy won so many games, he performed really well. He is a Platinum player, but his MMR is much better. He plays like a Diamond, for example. And trust me, the skill difference between someone in Platinum, someone in Emerald, someone in Diamond is not big at all. It is not big, it's wildrift. Like, you can argue in PC, the skill difference between ranks is pretty big, but in wildrift it is not big at all. It is kinda small, not gonna lie. I would say the difference between someone in Platinum compared to someone in Diamond is smaller than the difference between a Diamond player and a Grandmaster player, or a Diamond player and a Master player. Like, the difference is so small, to be honest. Like, people always think, oh my god, I'm a Diamond player, I'm so much better. But you have to understand that a perfect matchmaking is like, the goal is 50% win rate for everyone. That's the most balanced way. And as long as the system gets that done, then it's balanced. Like, it doesn't matter, like, the rank doesn't matter. Because sometimes you have Emeralds that perform really well, sometimes you have Emeralds that perform really shit, but sometimes you also have Master players or Grandmaster players that perform really bad. Like, it's just a coin flip. It's a coin flip and the rank doesn't matter. Like, either way, you can have a good low rank person or a low rank or Smurf batch that can perform well, but he could also just end it down, right? But at the same time, someone in high rank could also be someone that just ends you down. Like, you guys might be really, like, I think the psychology effect is like negative bias, where you only remember or you only focus on the negativity and you're like, oh my god, remember this Smurf batch guy, he ran me down. This Emerald, he ran me down. But the next game you have an Emerald that gets, or that carries you, you're like, oh, okay, whatever. But then you're like, oh my god, but I remember that Smurf batch guy, he ran me down, he was so bad. All Smurf batch players are bad. That's basically, you only remember the negativity, but you don't really remember someone who played well. So it could be that you have 5 players that played really well as a Smurf batch, but you only remember the one Smurf batch that was really bad. And it's not like, it's also vice versa for players that are high rank. Like, literally, someone in high rank can also int you down. Like, I have so many games where it's Smurf badges that perform better than people that are in high rank. So I just wanted to let you guys understand this first of all, because you need to get into the mindset that the rank doesn't really matter too much, and it's more about the in-game performance that each player brings. Because in the end, it doesn't matter if someone's a Smurf badge if he performs well, right? So a lot of times people are really biased and they only think about the negativity and the Smurf badges. But I think right now in SoloQ it is the most balanced it has ever been. And sometimes you have like one troll, or a lot of times you have one troll, but usually the opponents also have one troll. So it evens out basically. Okay, and now other thing is, in this game, a lot of people were underperforming, and when this happens, you need to try and focus on trying to find the win con. Like, let's assume you have 4 random teammates, and let's say 3 people are running it down. They're all playing really bad. Then you should try to play around the person who's doing well. Like, I mean, obviously there are some games that are not carryable. Like, obviously, the goal of the game is 50% win rate. It's not 100% win rate. There are games that are meant to be lost no matter what you do. Even like, if you watch LoL PC Challenger, usually a good win rate is 55%. 55% win rate. So that means they lose almost half the games. They lose almost half the games even though they're Challenger players. The game is meant to be 50-50. It's not meant to be you win when you... Like, even if you perform like a god every single game, you are not gonna win every single game. It's just a fact. Like, that's just harsh reality of a MOBA game. Like, you guys need to understand that. Like, you can't win every single game. Even if you perform like a chat every single game, you are not gonna win every single game. But if you focus on yourself, you focus on improving yourself, you focus on trying to win the game, you focus on ignoring the toxic messages, you focus on blocking the messages. Like, you can block pings, you can block the chat, use party chat. You can't ignore, like, you can literally block everything right now. So if you guys are struggling with mental or toxicity, then number 1 tip, block everything and just focus on your own gameplay. Try to improve every single game. Look at your own mistakes, watch replays, watch Darkbreaker guide. So yeah, I think that's a big mindset that people need to understand. Like, first comes mindset, then comes improving yourself, and then comes watching the what did I wanted to talk about? The other point. Macro. Like, I think I could reach, like, no brag, like, no ego, like, I'm being realistically right here. I think I could reach Challenger on every single role in SoloQ. Just because of better macro, better understanding on how to play the map, when to go for objectives, when to team fight, when to back. Like, there are so many things that are just determined by having better macro. Like, better rotation, better CSing, better team fight, better positioning, turret control, objective control, when to join a team fight, when to keep farming, etc. Those tips are applying for every single role basically. Macro is very important. Like, obviously there are some differences when it comes to micro. If you are 1k games on Aurelia, or you're just someone who has 10k, 20 games on Garen or something. But macro will be able, like, if you have good macro, you can win the game without having micro where you're basically snowballing the lane because you get the first blood, you know every matchup. I think in LoL PC, this might not apply necessarily because to get Challenger, you need to have good macro and good micro. But in wildrift, trust me, a lot of things can just be done, or you can make the difference, or have higher percentage than someone else by just having good macro. Because macro will just enable you to snowball or win games easier. Like, obviously, I think mid lane will be pretty easy. I did it in top lane, I did it in jungle. I think mid lane should not be a problem. Support, I think I can play good support because in Season 2, I did play a lot of support, like easily 50 games. I had to autofill, otherwise I wouldn't find games. So I think I have a good understanding when to roam, when to engage, and how to peel as a support. But the issue will be, solo queue support will take a lot of games. I think in high elo, playing support is easier than playing in low elo. Because your impact as a support really depends on how well your teammates follow you. And obviously, if you have a bad ADC, it's kind of hard. I think support is still easier than ADC though. Because a support can still roam, can still engage, can still make plays. But if you're playing ADC and your support is bad, you have a big problem, not gonna lie. So I do agree, I would say ADC is the hardest role to climb solo queue. Then probably... I'm not sure if I put Baron or support. It depends on how good you are. I think Baron is easier than support. At least for me it's easier. I mean, if you play Alistar, you can make so many plays. Like, I always used to spam Alistar or Janna. But I think Leona, Alistar are very good tanky engagers. While Janna, Lulu, Nami are just peelers. I feel like enchanters are not that great, or peeling supports are not that great to carry solo queue. Like, you need to play something like Alistar, playmaking champions that roam and make plays. Thresh, for example. Thresh, Alistar. That's my opinion. But yeah, what did I tell you? Mindset. Mindset, macro. Mindset, macro is probably the most important. If you guys want to climb. Not even the micro. Like, obviously, if you guys... obviously, if you guys want to focus on one champion to carry games, you can do that. And it's probably easier than learning a lot of champions if you just focus on one champion to climb. Because OTPs usually climb easier because they know every single matchup. But they most of the times, one-trick ponies, they lack the macro aspect of the game. Because they are just too focused on the micro aspect of the game. Where, like, I know every single matchup of the every single matchup. Like, I see a lot of one-trick ponies basically being inflated just because they win their lane, but then they can't win the game. Do you guys know, or do you guys understand what I mean? I don't know if that sounds toxic. Like, this is not meant to be toxic or anything. Like, honestly, yeah, if you're a good one-trick pony, you have good macro, I think it's easier to climb than learning a lot of champions. It's definitely easier. But does it necessarily make you a better player? That's the other question. Like, you can start being a one-trick pony, learning one champion, mastering it, and then you can adapt your pool, learn new champions, try to be a better player, try to be a more versatile player. We have 10 bans now. What do you do if you get your one-trick pony banned? Then you are on the other champion not as good. Like, you could be a Grandmaster Olaf player because you have 1000 games on him. But on any other champion, because you're not familiar on that champion, you are just an Emerald or Diamond level jungler. I think that looks good. That is a good example, right? Okay, anyways, let's focus on the game right now. Okay, so I kind of messed up. And hopefully I will edit it correctly, because I have to redo this part, or this whole ending part, since I just forgot to use the OBS correctly. So I have to redo everything. Coming at this point, I have to redo everything. Hopefully I cut the other part correctly. But now basically we're focusing on the wave management, and how this guy fell behind, and how I tried to set him up and try to get him ahead. So right here, first of all, he loses the 1 vs 1. Almost. He actually almost got the kill. I'm cleaning up right here. He's gonna die to Tryndamere, right? So overall, it's still fine. Like, I got 2 kills, he gets 2 assists, and it's a 2-for-1. So overall, not bad at all. And now this part here. So, first of all, you guys can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minions and a cannon minion. And only 1 minion and just almost dead. Like 1 and a tiny bit, 1/4 HP. And this wave is right here at this point. So if I don't kill a few minions, so this wave is not too strong, because if this wave is way too strong right now, it will overpower this wave immediately, just kill it, and then it will crash under the turret. So if that happens, he's gonna lose a bunch of gold. The cannon's gonna die, this is gonna die, this is gonna die, maybe this is gonna die, and then he might get these two, or he might lose everything. Not sure. Not sure how much the cannon will tank, but he will lose the cannon no matter what. So because I do this, this wave is not gonna crash under the turret, and if it crashes, it would bounce back to here, to this point, or even to this point. Probably just to this point, and then he will have a bad wave position. But because I cleared this wave here, it's not gonna crash here under the turret. The wave will make it in time to stop the wave before it will crash. So by lowering the damage or the power of this wave, by reducing a few minions of this wave, it will stay here at this point right before the turret, giving it enough time for this wave to come. It's like I was looking here, oh, I see the wave doesn't make it in time, so I just lowered the damage of this wave, so the minions will survive long enough for the other wave to come, and then it will stay right here. And remember, if you see a wave right here, that means the enemy wave is right here as well. And then, let's see, I think I'm gonna kill this range caster minion as well, because caster minions do more damage than melee, if I'm not wrong. And they will shot harder. Boom. And now the wave is in a good position, but remember, the next wave is coming. And now, 2 cannon minions are here. 2 cannon minions are here. And they will just push this wave into this turret. Like, no matter what he does, this wave will crash under the turret. So Fiora needs to damage the wave enough so it stays around here, doesn't crash under the turret before the next wave comes, and it stays here. And he just needs to always lower or kill a few minions, or he needs to determine how many minions he has to kill for the enemy wave to not overpower his own wave and crash under the turret. And if he does that, he will set up a freeze, and the wave will always stay right here in this position where Jace is forced to be overextended, and it's easier for Fiora to farm up right before the turret instead of being in the middle of the lane or even in front of his turret. So if Jace is really forced to stay forward in the lane to farm, then I can gank from behind again and just kill him. Also, freeze is really good in a bad matchup, so you can just farm up safely. And I'm writing, you should freeze it. See, but the issue what he's gonna do is he's trading within the wave. If you trade within a wave, you always take minion aggro, and the minions do a lot of damage in the early game. And especially since it's a huge wave, 2 cannon minions, he will take way too much damage from the minion wave. That's such a bad thing, because you can't trade within a big wave. If you do that, you take too much damage, and then Jace is just gonna win, and that's exactly what happened. He just kept trading to Jace, tried to hit him within the wave. Like, he tried to trade here with those 2 cannons, and then he just ended up dying because he doesn't realize the minion aggro basically almost kills him alone. It doesn't even, like, Jace doesn't even need to do shit when Fiora jumps within the wave and takes too much damage. And because of that, he falls even more behind, because he's gonna lose 2 cannon minions now, and this guy got another kill. And it snowballs and snowballs, and the issue was Fiora just kept trying to fight. If you fall behind already, you need to stop the bleeding, stop fighting, try to farm up safely. And sometimes it's better to sacrifice a few minions than dying, but in this case, he shouldn't have tried to fight when he has a big wave. And he shouldn't have tried to fight the Jace anyways, because Jace is gonna win against Fiora, especially since Fiora is behind. And Jace was still ahead. I think he was ahead in gold. But yeah, that's basically how you fell behind and how setting up a minion or a freeze works. So what you guys need to do, if you see your own wave getting overpowered by the enemy wave, then that's the best case to set up a freeze. Always clear enough minions so that your own wave, once it is right before the turret, or when the enemy wave is right before the turret. Wait, let's see again. Yeah, in this scenario, wait, the next wave is gonna come, right? Yes. So you always want to let your wave stay right here and the enemy wave stay around this area so it doesn't crash in. So you need to always, like best case, maybe kill one caster minion. If the wave still overpowers, kill 2 caster minions, etc. You will see if the wave is too strong and the enemy wave will just overpower your own wave to crash under the turret. That's something you don't want if you guys want to set up a freeze. But you also have to, like in high elo, if you try to set up a freeze against Riven, for example, and the opponent has a Camille, they will just dive you, or a Lee Sin. So it really depends on your matchup, where you want to set up a freeze or not. Analysis likes to set up a freeze, but it also depends on your matchup and the enemy jungler if you can freeze. Like, it's not something you should do every game. It's something you need to determine based on your own matchup, if it's good to freeze to farm safely, or if the opponent will then try to dive you because the COH wave will crash in, it's easier for them to dive you, and especially if you take some poke damage by the Jace or by someone else, you will be too low and easy to get dove on. I mean, it depends on who's the jungler, basically. If it's Camille, Lee Sin, for example, it might be risky to set up a freeze. And then, once you're dead, the wave is crashing in, you're gonna lose all the experience and gold. And then once you wanna come back to the lane to get the wave, they can sit here in the bush and then gank you again. Happens a lot of times in high elo. But yeah, that's basically how you set up a freeze and how you keep it. So 13:28, right? Let's continue. So at this point, like I said, we were so behind. 07 Fiora, and our misfortune is 0-1-0. So it looks pretty doomed, right? It looks pretty doomed. Okay, trying to clear the wave from the Herald right here. Fiora dies. I don't know why she keeps trying to fight 1v1. Okay, the Seraphine ultimate hit both Caitlyn and Lulu. We got those 2 kills. And then Aurelia getting the Lulu kill and the Ahri kill. And Misfortune used a wombo combo using the ultimate in combination with the Seraphine ultimate. And now we get 4 kills and we can basically try to rush the Baron. And that's a huge momentum swing, by the way. Getting the Baron, and then with the Baron we can get the tier 1 turrets. That's a huge gold and momentum swing for us because we get so much gold, global gold from the turrets. So much global gold from the turrets. Also the Ocean Dragon and the buffed Baron, like that's a huge gold swing on the gold graph if I'm showing it. Like, I think they were super ahead, but now at this point we get so much momentum back. And Fiora managed to force the flash, nice. So even though sometimes it looks like, okay, the game is pretty much lost, there are always, like in SoloQ, there are always some opportunities or some moments where someone will be too overextended, too overconfident, or too cocky, or too arrogant, basically. They make a mistake, they give a shutdown. And sometimes, like a lot of times, a snowball effect happens then. And the snowball effect is one person gets caught, then the next person tries to help, he gets caught as well, and keeps happening. You get Baron, for example, and then you come back. Like, a lot of games happen like this. Like, giving a shutdown or getting caught, huge opportunity to come back. Especially since shutdowns give you 800 gold or something, or even 1.2k if they're super fat. And now they even surrendered after this. One fight happened. They got caught by a good Seraphine ultimate. 4 people died because of that. We get Baron. We get 4 turrets. Like, we got mid, we got this, we got this, we got this. Oh, it's almost dead. We kill them again with the Baron buff because Baron gives you more damage. Caitlyn got caught by face checking the bush right here. She gets caught, she dies. The others try to help. And that's the snowball I'm talking about. They all tried to help the Caitlyn and they all died for it. Because they tried to fight a Baron buff team. Because Baron buff gives you also AD and AP. So yeah, huge swing, and that's something you need to learn in SoloQ. If you have the right mentality, you can win a lot of games where you think it's lost. Obviously, people usually don't have an insane win rate. Obviously, some games you can't win, but some games you can definitely win even though you think it's lost. I think the quote is 40% of the games you can't affect, it's a lose no matter what. 20% of the games you can make the difference, and 40% of the games it doesn't matter what you do, you still end up winning. I mean, the percentage is just an example that a lot of people use, but I agree with the fact, like, some games you can win no matter how well you do, but you need to win those games that are carryable if you do well. Because that's the 20% difference. And the more you can affect those games where you just perform well, even though some games are not carryable, some games you can affect, and some games you can win then, even though you have maybe 3 people inting, 2 people inting, or 1 people inting. If that happens, there's still a chance that you can win the game by performing really well. I'm not saying it's happen. I mean, obviously it doesn't happen every time. I have games where I play insanely well, I still end up losing because I have 4 people that are not performing well. But if you have consistently, the keyword, you are consistently performing well, then you should be able to climb. Yes, as long as you keep your mentality. If you're too tilted, just take a break, play in a few hours, play the next day. That's it for me. 3-8, 6-4, 0-1-3. I think she did really bad feeding to Jace. Like, she should have tried to play more safe afterwards. But in the end, she did fine. Aurelia did overall really well. I think Misfortune just had a bad game. Sometimes it happens. People just have bad games, and it's not like I have to expect too much. Like, it just depends. Sometimes it's just coin flip. You never know if you get a good Smurf batch or you just get a good Smurf batch. Like this example, like you could argue and say the Fiora with the 07 or 08 was a bad Smurf batch. But then you have someone who has a good Smurf batch. That's basically the example. Or you could also say, let's say, who was bad here? I think they all did fine. You could say, enemy had an 08 person, but the Smurf batch carried. Happens. She had a good ultimate in the end. Seraphine with the ultimate. I think those 2 with the ultimate combo were really key on us winning. So overall, still I managed to win the game, even though it was looking really, really, really bad. Like, they had such a huge gold lead compared to us. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I tried to give you some tips about the right mentality, the right mindset, to not blame everyone, not to blame the matchmaking. Like, obviously some cases are really tilting, but overall I would say SoloQ is very balanced right now. Like, both teams have coin flippers. And you can carry games if you play well and work on yourself and try to be better every single game. If you just focus on yourself, focus on improving the game, don't focus too much about the ranks, focus on the in-game performance of each teammate. And I think if the loading screen, if people wouldn't see the ranking, then they would not think that it's so unbalanced. They would more think, okay, actually, overall, the skill level was kind of even. That's the whole goal of matchmaking rating, and the goal is 50% win rate. And some tips about the wave management and freezing. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I see you next time. Bye bye.
Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright.